Out of the dugout comes a tall right-hander from Texas. He greets the rest of his team, and 50 million fans thrill to the new season. Baseball is back, and the opening day pitcher is the President of the United States. A burly catcher named William Howard Taft started the tradition back in 1910. He was good enough as a youth to get an offer from the Cincinnati Red Stockings, but Papa Taft said no. So William became president instead. A lean Virginian named Woodrow Wilson carried on the tradition. Then Warren Harding from Ohio with a friend, Babe Ruth. From Plymouth, Vermont, fastballer Calvin Coolidge. West Branch, Iowa sent Herbert Hoover to the big leagues. Franklin Roosevelt from Hyde Park, New York became quite a veteran at this sort of thing. Independence, Missouri gave us independent Harry Truman. From Denison, Texas, Dwight Eisenhower, a strong right-hander. John Kennedy of Brookline, Massachusetts, had the ability and enthusiasm to light up the whole ballpark. The president, with baseball in hand, is a sure sign of spring. The April cry of "play ball" signals the end of a 6-month hibernation for the baseball buff. Booming bats once again release a thunderous roar. The race for base is on. 1,000 kids tell their school teachers that 1,000 mythical grandmas have suddenly passed on. The American ballpark becomes a theater in the round, a circus of thrills, chills, and occasional laughter. The action is just around the corner. A full hour of the great men who have given us a century full of baseball thrills. The legends of the game. Baseball and Babe Ruth have been synonymous since 1914, when the big moon-faced rookie first filled the pitching needs of the Boston Red Sox. When the Sox needed power in 1919, the Babe supplied that too, with a record 29 home runs. The struggling Boston club then sent Babe to the New York Yankees in exchange for $500,000. Between trips to Hollywood, hot dog stands, and children's hospitals, Babe Ruth managed to accumulate 714 home runs and a lifetime batting average of .342. Babe's only problems were with his waistline and his enormous salary. In 1930, the Yankee management reminded him that he was asking for more money than President Hoover. The Babe replied, "Well, I had a better year than he did." In 1935, Babe was traded to the Boston Braves, where he faded out with a typical touch of class. 3 home runs in his final game. He finished his career as a coach for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Babe retired to the good life. He played golf with friends like Ty Cobb, and once again he made the impossible look routine. His final years were devoted to working with youngsters. Today's Babe Ruth leagues for kids are a lasting tribute to his memory. Babe Ruth was the king, and as long as baseball is played, Babe Ruth will be the king. He was the superstar, a very special guy. Hank Aaron had a tougher path to travel than the Babe because black men had no place in baseball until Jackie Robinson broke the color line in 1947. But once Hank arrived, he started hitting home runs in Ruthian fashion. Number 715 by Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's lifetime record. It had been a long trail for Hank since he broke in with the Mobile Black Bears in 1951 for $10 a game. Is there a youngster coming up this year with the skill, power, and endurance to one day surpass Hank Aaron? Ty Cobb, the Georgia Peach. Ty with Tom Edison, two American immortals. Pete Rose made a new generation of fans aware of Cobb's greatness. Ty Cobb had 892 stolen bases, a .367 lifetime batting average, more than 4,000 hits. Ty Cobb, a baseball legend. Mel Ott. For 22 years, Ottie cocked his right foot high and belted the ball out of the park. 511 times in all, after joining the Giants in 1925 as a tender youth of 16 years. Lou Gehrig was Columbia University's gift to the New York Yankees. Lou played 2,130 consecutive games with a lifetime average of .340 and 493 home runs. Watch Lou try to stretch this triple into a home run. He doesn't quite make it, but not for lack of effort. Lou Gehrig, baseball's Iron Man. For 24 seasons, National League fans thrilled to the play of Rogers Hornsby. You could get one strike by the Raja, but that was about it. He batted over 400 3 times. His season high of .424 in 1924 has never been approached. Honus Wagner, the fabulous Flying Dutchman. They said he didn't just scoop up ground balls, he excavated them. For 21 years, from 1897 to 1917, he was baseball's best shortstop, best hitter, and one of the finest base runners in the game. Pepper Martin was known as the wild horse of the Osage. He raced his way to greatness with the fabulous Gas House Gang. Give Pepper an inch and he'd take a mile. Give him a chance for second base and he'd swipe third and home as well. Pete Rose knew how Pepper played. Bill Dickey handled a comb, a bat, and a catcher's mitt with equal agility. He hit for a lifetime average of .313, a powerful addition to a Yankee team that already included Ruth, Gehrig, and Lazzeri when young Bill joined the club in 1928. Walter Johnson, the big train, could really get steam on the ball, as Max Carey found out when Johnson clipped him in the 1925 World Series. Walter won 414 games, 113 of them shutouts. His strikeout total reached 3,508, far beyond any other player of his time. Christy Mathewson was Walter Johnson's counterpart in the National League. In 1905, Matty pitched 3 World Series shutouts for the champion Giants. His 17-year average of 23 victories per year is an outstanding Major League record. Bob Feller was known as Rapid Robert. In 1946, Feller struck out 348 American League batters. Yogi Berra holds more records than you can shake a bat at. A great clutch hitter, Yogi worked hard to become a fine defensive catcher as well. His record 71 World Series hits and countless clutch home runs rank him with baseball's best. First baseman Hank Greenberg gave Babe Ruth's 60 home run mark a scare in 1938. Hammer and Hank connected for 58 that year. His lifetime average of .313 was filled with timely hits. In 1945, he returned from service just in time to hit a pennant-winning home run for the Tigers and led them to a World Series triumph over the Cubs. Jackie Robinson came up from Montreal in 1947 and led the Brooklyn Dodgers to the National League flag. He played first base in '47, then switched to second for the remainder of a brilliant career. His stocky figure belied his fabulous speed. He could steal third base before you could say Jack Robinson. And there were plenty of home runs in the Robinson bat as well. Shortstop Archie Vaughan was one of the legends you never heard too much about, unless you happened to be a Pirate fan. But Archie Vaughan's lifetime average of .318 included a league-leading .385, still the best National League average since 1930. All-Star Al Rosen, Cleveland's slugging third baseman, was the first man to be selected unanimously for the American League's Most Valuable Player Award. His big bat made Cleveland a formidable opponent for the Yankee powerhouses of the 50s. Ted Williams held his own with Ruth, Cobb, Gehrig, Ott, and anyone else you could name. Ted had power, speed, and a batting eye that made an umpire think twice before he called a strike against the splendid Splinter. The pleasure Ted gave was matched only by the pleasure he took from playing the game. The last man to hit .400, Ted Williams was a natural. Stan Musial's unique batting stance was once described as that of a kid peeking around the corner to see if the cops were coming. Too bad it's never been duplicated. Musial made more hits, scored more runs, and had more runs batted in than any other player of his time. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio, the Yankee Clipper, holds a brilliant bag of records. The most memorable one, his 1941 hitting streak. In a 2-month period, Joe hit safely 91 times, connecting in 56 consecutive games. Here's a sampling. Tin Pan Alley summed it up with a song. Joe DiMaggio, we want you on our team. How about your team of legends? Would you have Joe in center field or Willie Mays? Mickey Mantle, perhaps? Is Koufax as good as Hubble or Walter Johnson? No one really knows, but the argument is music to our ears. Baseball talk. The legendary Connie Mack played and managed more baseball than any man who ever lived. Here at 81, he turned on his Philadelphia athletic team in spring training for the 1944 season. His players loved the old man. He cared about them even after they stopped playing ball. He showed them a sense of pride and a sense of humor.
I do feel that while we have won some championships, that we have given to Philadelphia some of the worst teams that the country has ever had. And therefore, I only hope that we can win that pennant for our loyal fans.
It was Connie Mack who decided back in the 19th century that pitchers should throw overhand instead of delivering the ball as the batter wanted it. The rule was changed, and pitchers have been doing it Connie's way ever since. One who did it best was Howard Emke, Connie's surprise starter in the 1929 World Series against the Chicago Cubs. Emke, who had pitched only 55 innings all year, struck out 13, a series record at the time. The big bats of Mule Haas, Bing Miller, and Al Simmons carried the A's to the World Championship in 1929. Connie's team won the American League pennant 9 times. At Connie Mack Stadium in 1941, the grand old man of baseball was honored. Connie's good friend, George M. Cohan, the original Yankee Doodle Dandy, composed a special song just for the occasion.
They now claim the kid as their own. At Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, he's now like a king on a throne. One and all, we recall all the pennants he has brought to the town of renown for its scrapple and its sport. Since the great William Penn, who's the best loved of men, Connie Mack, Connie Mack.
Connie Mack was the team. Philadelphia fans used to say, let's take the day off and go watch Connie. And baseball once had Brooklyn. Ebbets Field was a center of madness and gladness for a rare breed of baseball fan. They stuck with their beloved bums through thick and thin, mostly thin. Their enthusiasm was matched only by their understanding of the game. A Bronx cheer was never heard in Brooklyn when an opponent came through with an outstanding play. Leo Durocher led them through most of the good years. He brought them a pennant in 1941. Leo argued their case in court, and win or lose, they loved the action. But in 1947, Happy Chandler broke up the romance when Leo popped off publicly about his ex-boss, Larry MacPhail. Commissioner Chandler zipped the lip for a year. He said Durocher's actions were not in the best interests of baseball. So Leo temporarily left the scene, but a new and successful career lay just ahead with the New York Giants. The Durocher touch was well in evidence when the Giants pulled off the amazing miracle of 1951. On August 11th, a 13.5 game margin separated Durocher's Giants from the league-leading Dodgers. Day after day, Leo's boys whittled away at those 13.5 games. The Dodgers had all they could do to hang on desperately for a tie. Giant fans wanted Brooklyn blood as the two teams met in a best-of-3 series for the 1951 National League pennant. But the New York Giants' luck seemed finally to have run out. Don Mueller's ninth-inning single sent Al Dark to third, but the Giants still trailed 4-1 in this third and deciding game of the playoff. With one out, Dodger ace Don Newcomb seemed to be in command. But Whitey Lockman cracked a double, scoring Dark and closing the gap to 4-2. Mueller raced to third, turned his ankle, and had to be replaced by pinch runner Clint Hartung. The Giants had the tying runs on base. Newcomb was replaced by Ralph Branca, a gamble on the part of Dodger manager Charlie Gresson, for Branca had been tagged by Thompson for a key home run in the opening game of the series. It was more than a fan could bear as Thompson took a called strike one. The ballpark thrilled to this joyous agony. And then that famous swing, the shot heard around the world, a homer to win the game and pennant for the 1951 New York Giants. A truly miracle moment. Since Babe Ruth inaugurated baseball's all-star game, it's become a midsummer spectacle of sport, a once-in-a-lifetime chance for fans to compare the skills of their heroes against those of the rival league. For the players, it's a gathering of the clan, a time for old friends to swap talk, shop talk. There's Connie Mack and John McGraw, the first all-star managers. The Cooper brothers, Mort and Walker. And the DiMaggios, Joe and Dom. The All-Star game provided a rare duel between Lefty Gomez and Dizzy Dean. A one-time test of Don Newcomb against Ted Williams. And a one-time chance for Willie Mays to save Big Nuke's neck with a magnificent catch. It's Larrap and Lou Gehrig, and Duke Snider, Joe D, Big John Mize. It's Jackie Robinson bringing a crowd to its feet with his feet. And Mickey Mantle sending everyone home in a mid-season moment of madness. That's the All-Star Game, the midsummer gathering of the legends of the game. The Chicago World's Fair of 1933 gave birth to the idea of a baseball all-star game. 1933 was when it all began. Connie Mack on the left managed the Americans and John McGraw the Nationals. McGraw had been in retirement for 20 years, but he wasn't about to miss this game.
We have a sellout, a big crowd, a fine day, and I hope the best team wins.
Here's John McGraw and his National Leaguers acting like a bunch of kids as they prepare for a team picture. Some good names in there. Bill Terry, Paul Wainer, Frankie Frisch, Pie Traynor, Pepper Martin. Hall of Famers Carl Hubbell of the Giants and Lefty Grove of the A's pitched that day. Here's the American League with Babe Ruth on the upper left near Lou Gehrig. Everybody heard about it on radio from the famed broadcaster Graham McNamee.
A game that is absolutely unique. And now, Gehringer, that great ball player, second baseman, is up at bat for the American All-Stars. And he takes a ball followed immediately by a called strike.
Here's Babe Ruth in the first inning taking ball one and then ball two. The National League pitcher was Willie Hallahan of the Cardinals. Ball three disappointed the crowd. They were there to see Ruth swing. But the next pitch caught the corner to make it 3-1. Come on, Babe, do something, they cried. His powerful bat caught nothing but air. And then, to the utter shock and dismay of 49,000 at Comiskey Park, the Babe took called strike three. He threw his bat in disgust. There was no joy that moment for the men of Connie Mack. Their leader had gone down without a crack from his great bat. But the Babe had gone down swinging so many times before, and every time the Babe, this Babe, had come back with a roar. Third inning, the Babe again facing Willie Hallahan. The count is 1-1. Here's the pitch. Babe Ruth's dramatic home run led the Americans to a 4-2 victory in the first All-Star game ever played. It was billed as an exhibition, but the Babe changed that. He made the All-Star game an event. 1934, Mayor LaGuardia greets Commissioner Landis, and Henry Ford joins Will Rogers at New York's Polo Grounds. Walter Johnson waves hello. Lefty Gomez and Carl Hubbell on 1934 starting pitchers. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, and Jimmy Fox will try to make life miserable for King Carl. Lefty warms to an easier task, and so does Mayor LaGuardia as the game gets underway. Hubbell's in trouble in the first inning with 2 on and no one out, but he slips a screwball past Babe Ruth for called strike three. The Babe can't believe it. Now Carl sends Lou Gehrig down swinging, but he still has Fox to face. Hubbell fans Big Jim, then adds Al Simmons and Joe Cronin for 5 in a row. 5 of baseball's best. Cleveland, 1935. The rival managers are Frankie Frisch and Mickey Cochran. Babe Ruth is gone, but Gehrig, Cronin, Fox, and Simmons still give the American League a power advantage. Dizzy Dean's unhappy about missing the starting assignment, but his Cardinal teammate, Bill Walker, gets the nod. Jimmy Fox beats Walker with this 2-run clout in the first inning. Jimmy comments, "It was a curve. They will try and curve me on 3-2, these National Leaguers." 1936. Dizzy Dean gets this start against Lefty Grove, and Dizzy mows down American League heroes like Joe DiMaggio. But Grove doesn't fare as well. Gabby Hartnett's line drive is misplayed by DiMaggio in the outfield. Frank Demery races home, and the National League builds a 4-3 lead. The Cleveland crowd screams for DeMag to make amends in the ninth, but Joe pops up against Lon Warneke, and the National League has its first All-Star victory. Commissioner Landis welcomes President Roosevelt to the 1937 game. The Babe is there in civvies with Mrs. Ruth. So is FBI Chief J. Edgar Hoover. The pitchers are Lefty Gomez and Dizzy Dean, who modestly sizes up the situation.
Well, they have a lot of great pitchers in the world today, and I would class myself best in the National League as a right right-hander, and they have a lot of good right-handers in the American League also.
The president throws out the first ball, and the National Leaguers go after their second consecutive victory. It is not Dizzy's day, however. Joe DiMaggio tags him for a solid single, which brings Lou Gehrig to the plate. Lou hits one a mile, and the American League rolls to an 8-3 victory. A record third All-Star pitching triumph for Lefty Gomez. 1938, Cincinnati fans fear an American League slugging brigade, led by Rudy York, Joe DiMaggio, and Jimmy Fox. But they believe their hometown hero, Johnny Vandermeer, may be the answer. 22-year-old Johnny has just thrown 2 consecutive no-hit victories, a feat never duplicated. On this day, he leads his team to a 4-1 triumph, leaving York, DiMaggio, and Fox swinging at the sweet Cincinnati air. 1939. Country boy Paul Derringer takes the mound for the National League before 63,000 at Yankee Stadium. But Paul doesn't seem particularly awed by the situation. Red roughing starts for the American League. Ford Frick is on hand, and Hall of Famer Tris Speaker. There's Judge Landis, Mrs. Lou Gehrig, and Wizard of Oz star Bert Lahr. Lou Gehrig is too ill to take the field, but he serves as the American League's non-playing captain. The huge crowd sees Joe DiMaggio atone for earlier All-Star disappointments with this tremendous home run off Big Bill Lee, which carries the American League to a 3-1 lead. Then, with 1 out in the 6th inning, Mel Ott singles to load the bases for the National League. Young Bobby Feller comes in to face Archie Vaughan, and a Feller fastball is slapped into a quick double play. Bob holds the fort for 3 more innings to ensure the American League's 5th victory in the first 7 All-Star Classics. Detroit's Briggs Stadium is the scene of the 1941 All-Star Classic. Cecil Travis hits safely in the 4th inning of a scoreless ball game to begin an American League rally. Ted Williams sends Travis home to break the ice in the ball game. In the 7th inning, Country Slaughter of the Cardinals gets a National League rally going against Sid Hudson. Pittsburgh slugger Archie Vaughan homers for a 3-2 National League lead. Vaughan homers again in the 8th to set the stage for a dramatic all-star moment. 2 out, bottom of the 9th, 2 men on, and the American League trailing 5-4. Ted Williams is the batter. There it goes! A dramatic 3-run homer and a last gasp 7-5 victory for the American League. A Williams all-star moment to remember. (1942). Mort Cooper takes the mound at the Polo Grounds. Lou Boudreau's homer gets the American League Stars off on the right foot in this tri-night game, played for the benefit of World War II servicemen. The Yankees' Tommy Henrich follows with a 2-base hit off Cooper, the pitching star of the world champion Cardinals. Rudy York's big bat caps a 3-run first inning. It just isn't Cooper's day. The American League coasts to a 3-1 victory. 1946. Commissioner Happy Chandler throws out the first ball at Fenway Park, and Ted Williams thrills the hometown crowd with this home run off Kirby Higbee of the Dodgers. In a 12-0 rout, Ted has an unforgettable confrontation with Rip Sewell's famous floating eephus pitch. Here it is. Ted looks clumsy fouling off the high toss, but wait. Nothing clumsy about this one. Ted Williams sends eephus pitch into oblivion. 1947 at Wrigley Field, the 14th All-Star game finds the American League leading 9-4. In the fourth inning, Big Johnny Mize of the New York Giants belts one off Yankee star Frank Shea, and the National League is off to a 1-0 lead. In the sixth, Harry Brackeen serves up a single to Luke Appling, and the American League is off and running. Ted Williams' hit sends Appling to third with the potential tying run. Next up, Joe DiMaggio. Brackeen gets DiMaggio to hit into a double play, but the tying run scores. Pitcher Johnny Sain gives up a seventh-inning single to Bobby Doerr. Doerr then moves to second on an infield out. Stan Spence of the Senators smacks the game-winning hit. The American League wins 2-1. 1949, Ebbets Field. The American League stars are brothers Joe and Dom DiMaggio. Jackie Robinson and Ralph Kiner lead a powerful National League team. Two boys from Boston, Mel Parnell and Warren Spahn, are the pitchers. A single off Spahn by DiMaggio knocks in the first American League run. 17 more runs, 25 hits, and 6 errors lie just ahead. Bertie Tebbett's hit gives the American League a 4-0 first inning lead. The National League comes back to life on a sparkling two-base effort by Jackie Robinson. Stan the Man sends one over his favorite right field wall, Ebbets Field. The lead seesaws in a game of big league hitting and little league fielding. The big blow is a fluke hit coming up, which just manages to elude the glove of Dodgers' fine first baseman Gil Hodges. Don Newcomb faces Eddie Joost. Now watch the bad hop. Poor Gil. Some days it just doesn't pay to be an all-star. Vic Raschi makes Pee Wee Reese pop up for the final out of the 40s. The junior circuit has done it again, their 12th victory in 16 games. The All-Star Game is becoming an American League affair. Baseball's grand old man, Connie Mack, inaugurates the third decade of All-Star play at Comiskey Park in 1950. A freak accident in the first inning. Kiner hits to Ted Williams, who makes a fine catch, but breaks his elbow as he smacks into the left field wall. In the fifth inning, Don Newcomb gives up a double to Cleveland star Larry Doby, putting runners at second and third. George Kell hits a sacrifice fly, scoring Bob Lemon and tying the game at 2-2. The next batter, Ted Williams, still unaware of his injury, waves Bob home. Ted comes through, driving in the lead run, broken arm and all. In the ninth inning, Ralph Kiner of the Pirates ties it up at 3-3 with this clutch home run off Art Hauptman. In the 12th inning, Tommy Henrich hits one a mile. But Andy Pafko saves the day for the National League. What a catch. Red Schoendienst wins it all for the National League with this dramatic 14th inning home run. It's only their 5th win in 17 tries, but a wonderful way to start a comeback. In 1951, the National League is loaded for bear. An American League threat is wiped out on a perfect throw by Philly hero Richie Ashburn. Here it is. In the 4th inning, Stan Musial sparks a 4-run rally with this big home run off Ned Garber. In the 5th, George Kell of the Tigers tags one off Sal Magley to close the gap to 4-3. The American League fights back. But in the 6th inning, Brooklyn's Gil Hodges puts it out of reach with a 2-run shot off Cleveland's Bob Lemon. The National League rolls to an 8-3 victory, the first time they've won 2 consecutive All-Star games. A 1953 All-Star attraction at Crosley Field is Leroy's Satchel Paige, a big league hero at the tender age of 47. Korean War fighter pilot Ted Williams throws out the first ball. In the 5th inning, Richie Ashburn slaps one through the middle to score Ed Matthews with the first run of the ball game. Dodger captain Pee Wee Reese comes through, and the National League has a 2-0 lead. It's Pee Wee's first hit in 16 All-Star at-bats. In the 7th inning, Reese doubles off Big Bear Mike Garcia of the Indians, and Enos Slaughter races home. Old Satch takes the mound for the American League in the 8th, but Roy Campanella shows no respect for age. Nor does Enos Slaughter, who drives Campy home as the National League wins their 4th straight, a 5-1 rout. 1954, Cleveland. Hometown hero Al Rosen gets the American League off to a 3-run lead with this clout off Robin Roberts. Big Al sparks the 1954 Indians to a record 111 victories. By the time Brooklyn's Duke Snyder singles in the 5th inning, the lead has changed hands. The National League has a 5-3 advantage. Cincinnati's Ted Kluszewski raises the count to 7-3 with this home run off Bob Porterfield. Kluszewski, a man with jumbo arms. Look at those muscles. In a wild ball game, the American League fights back, and Yogi Berra's 8th inning single gives Al Rosen a chance to do it again for the Cleveland fans. He does! Cleveland explodes as the hometown boy makes good. A day to remember for Al Rosen. 1955, Milwaukee County Stadium. Robin Roberts pitches, and Mickey Mantle hits one of the longest homers we've ever seen. The American League races to a 5-0 lead in what looks like a routine victory. In the 7th inning, Ted Williams hits a terrific shot off Don Newcomb. But watch Willie Mays perfectly time his leap and keep the ball from going out of the park. The National League fights back to tie the game at 5-5. The last of the 12th, Stan Musial homers to win it. An inspired National League victory set up by 2 never-say-die ball players, Musial and Mays. Casey Stengel and Walt Alston square off at Griffith Stadium in 1956. Willie Mays draws first blood on a day when baseball's biggest brutes put on an unforgettable performance. Sit tight. Ted Williams versus Warren Spahn. Williams is the winner. Mickey Mantle from either side of the plate, preposterous power. Musial comes to bat. Williams' homer moments before tied Stan's all-star record. Now, once again, Musial has the record all to himself. Suzuki's hitting and May's speed put the icing on the cake of a 7-3 National League victory. A fantastic game in a third fabulous decade of all-star play. The National League proves itself equal in every possible way. It began with the Babe as an offshoot of the 1933 Chicago World's Fair, and the Babe gave it his typical touch of class. He was only around for the first couple of years, but the Babe made it all legitimate. A true legend of the game. The 40s were filled with baseball greats, but there was no one else like Ted Williams. With the ease of a true professional, when the pressure was the greatest, so was the legendary Ted. Willie Mays' all-out effort was matched by his amazing skills. The legendary Willie Mays may be the best player in National League history. Or will another legend emerge from the 70s or 80s to surpass Mays and Williams and the Babe? We'll keep our eye on the all-star stage to see. The World Series sky is covered with stars and sprinkled with legends of the game. And then there are the instant legends. Time and again, the one player remembered from a series is a guy who has his moment in the sun before a nation of fans and then disappears into the sunset. Mickey Owens' dropped third strike was a legendary tragedy of 1941. Don Larson's 1956 perfect game, a moment of total triumph. The World Series has it all. The World Series began in 1903, when the USA was 128 years old, and Casey Stengel was 12. 1903, when the working man earned $8 a week, and $1 entitled you to sit in the grandstand to watch baseball's first World Series. The Boston Puritans knocked off the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-3 for an American League victory. But the first World Series almost turned out to be the last. Many National Leaguers had little regard for the fledgling American League, just 3 years old. In 1904, the National League pennant-winning manager John McGraw of the New York Giants said, "I refuse to play the American League. Let them get a reputation first." The Giants passed, and the series was not played in 1904. In 1905, McGraw bowed to the wishes of the fans, and the series was resumed. And the following spring, the Giants wheeled into the Polo Grounds as world champions. Their Hall of Fame battery of Roger Bresnahan and Christy Mathewson had taken them to the top. Bresnahan stroked 5 hits and perfectly handled the magnificent Mathewson, who pitched 3 shutout victories in 6 days. By 1916, series attendance had tripled. The Boston Red Sox defeated the Brooklyn Dodgers 4-1. The Sox hitting star, Duffy Lewis, had a .353 average. Young Babe Ruth pitched the second game for the Boston club. He was touched for a run in the opening inning, but went on to a 14-inning 2-1 victory. Quite a performance, although he was 0 for 5 at the plate. He'd make up for that later. That same year, our boys were chasing Pancho Villa across the Mexican plains. The famous bandit was planning a major assault for October 7th. When a reporter informed him he would be competing for front-page space with the American World Series, headline-happy Pancho Villa postponed the battle for 7 days. The series had truly become an international event. 1917. Newspapers were filled with stories about new weapons. Heroes like Ty Cobb, Grover Alexander, and Christy Mathewson were in service, competing with war heroes like Eddie Rickenbacker. The 1917 series brought together teams from the 2 largest cities in the country, John McGraw's New York Giants and Pants Rowland's Chicago White Sox. Eddie Kakati, with 28 victories under his belt, took the mound for the Sox in the first game. The Giants countered with Harry Sally, an 18-game winner from Higginsport, Ohio. Newspapers made Higginsport and all of small-town America World Series conscious. While Red Faber, Buck Weaver, and shoeless Joe Jackson led Chicago to victory in the first two games, cheers were heard in their hometowns of Cascade, Iowa, Stowe, Pennsylvania, and Brandon Mills, South Carolina. Back at the Polo Grounds for Game 3, New York's Mayor Mitchell threw out the first ball. It was the best pitch the Sox saw in 2 days, as Rube Benton and Ferdy Shoup stopped them cold with shutout pitching. The series was now tied, but the Giants blew the 5th game. Red Faber pitched his 3rd victory in the 6th, and the White Sox were World Series champions, and the nation hurried back to attend to World War I. The series roared right along with the Roaring '20s. Interest soared in spite of the 1919 series scandal, which saw 8 players suspended for life. Giant scoreboards brought series news to hundreds of thousands who overflowed from out-of-date ballparks. Yankee owner Jake Rupert and manager Miller Huggins solved their stadium problem in 1923. With rookie hero Lou Gehrig and ex-Red Sox star Babe Ruth providing the bait, they drew a school of new fans, including President Harding. Ruth's tremendous home runs replaced the Statue of Liberty as New York's #1 tourist attraction. The Yankees played the first $1 million series and went on to become the most successful team in World Series history. One interruption in Yankee dominance was provided by Connie Mack's Philadelphia Athletics. With great pitching from Earnshaw, Grove, and Wahlberg, Mr. Mack and his A's won respect from Yankee manager Joe McCarthy, President Herbert Hoover, and a nation of fans who welcomed World Series thrills in the Depression years. In 1936, rookie Joe DiMaggio and veteran Lou Gehrig led the Yankees back to the top as series interest reached an all-time high. For the Yankees, it was just the beginning. Baseball was a great morale builder during World War II. President Roosevelt asked that the game continue for the duration. He requested an increase in night games to provide leisure activity for war workers. And for a GI with a radio, baseball was a link with home and better times. Red Ruffing's key hit to right field gave the Yankees an opening game victory in the 1942 series. It looked like they were off and running to another World's Championship. The Cardinals, however, swept the next 3 games. In the 5th game, with the score tied 2-2 in the 9th inning, the Cards' Walker Cooper singled. A sacrifice bunt moved the big catcher to second base. And then, in the fog and mist of Yankee Stadium, Whitey Kurowski belted a Red Ruffing fastball deep into left field. Yankee outfielder Charlie Keller dove into the seats trying to catch the drive, but to no avail. The St. Louis Cardinals were the 1942 world champions. The Yanks and Cards returned to Sportsman's Park in 1943. The Yanks winning the first game behind Spud Chandler, the Cards the second behind their great brother battery of Mort and Walker Cooper. In the key play of the 3rd game, Yankee Billy Johnson tripled with the bases loaded off Cardinal pitcher Alpha Brazel. Brazel had walked Frank Rossetti to get at Johnson, but Johnson crossed up the strategy and the Yankees were off to a 6-2 victory. In the 5th and final game at Sportsman's Park, Yankee ace Spud Chandler came through again with a 2-0 shutout victory. Mort Cooper, the Cards pitcher, got by everybody but Bill Dickey. The Yankees Hall of Fame catcher homered in the 6th inning to bring the World's Championship back to New York. From New Guinea to North Africa, GI Yankee fans let out a resounding cheer. In 1944, St. Louis had to win the World Series as the 2 hometown teams, the Browns and the Cardinals, met for the championship. Chet Labs tripled for the Browns in the 2nd inning of the 6th game. They trailed in the series 3-2. This was the must game for the Brownies. Cardinal pitcher Max Lanier was then wrapped for a single by George McQuinn. Labs raced home, and the Brownies had a 1-0 lead. But the Browns threw away the ball game. Vern Stevens' wild throw gave away 1 run, and with Nelson Potter pitching, Emil Verban singled through the Browns' infield gave the Cardinals a 3-1 lead. Potter walked off a dejected Brownie. The Cardinals' great relief ace, Ted Wilkes, disposed of the last 11 Brownies in succession, and for the second time in 3 years, the Cards were world champions. As the war came to a close in the summer of 1945, automobiles replaced airplanes on assembly lines, and returning veterans added spice to the pennant races. No club got as big a lift as the one Hank Greenberg gave to the Detroit Tigers. Hank, who had volunteered for service in the summer of 1941, returned in time to hit 13 home runs, the last a grand slam on the final day of the 1945 season to defeat the Browns and clinch the pennant for the Tigers. Big Hank kept right on slugging in the series against the Chicago Cubs. His 3-run homer in the second game gave the Tigers a 4-1 victory to even the series 1 game apiece. In the third game, Claude Passeau pitched a masterpiece for the Cubs. Big Rudy York's single was the only Tiger hit, as Passeau shut out the Tigers 3-0. In the 7th and deciding game at Wrigley Field, the Cubs started their ace, Hank Borowy, who had pitched 4 shutout innings of relief the previous game. This time, Hank didn't have it. Skeeter Webb, Eddie Mayo, and Doc Kramer singled in the first inning, and Cub manager Charlie Grimm called on Paul Derringer to try to tame the Tigers. But Big Paul didn't have it either. Tiger catcher Paul Richards cleared the bases with a booming double, and the game was as good as over. The final score was 9-3. Detroit had its championship, and the Cubs had lost their 7th series in their last 7 appearances. In the quarter century since World War II, television supplemented newspaper and radio coverage of the series, and baseball's popularity zoomed. New teams brought millions of new fans who had the game served up right in their living rooms. Ted Williams, Duke Snider, and Casey Stengel became national instead of local heroes. Television brought countless millions into the ballpark when Sandy Amoros made this magnificent catch to help the Dodgers win their first World Series in 1955. They saw a youngster named Willie Mays make incredible plays like this one against the Indians in the 1954 series. In the 1949 series, television pictured baseball at its dramatic best as Don Newcombe of the Brooklyn Dodgers faced the New York Yankees' Tommy Henrich in the bottom of the 9th inning of a 0-0 thriller. The fans at home had the best seats in the house as the drama unfolded. Tommy Henrich, a .282 lifetime hitter who always batted .500 in the clutch, hit a Newcombe fastball deep into the right field seats. We all shared Henrich's happiness, and we died with Big Nuke, whose one fat pitch was the unhappy climax to his brilliant season. Television created instant legends on the spot. Home video would preserve them forever. A legend named Landis. Kennesaw Mountain Landis, baseball's first commissioner, was the great non-playing hero of the game. When the series scandal of 1919 rocked the nation, Judge Landis ruled with an iron fist, and the glory of the game was restored. The judge, famed for his profanity and invective, was feared, but above all, respected in his 24 years of service to the game. Each new season saw the commissioner throwing out the first ball, greeting the president, or brooding in his box over a close play. He was the man who saved the game. John Pepper Martin stirred baseball in the world when it really needed stirring. His amazing gymnastics in the 1931 World Series were the main reason for the tremendous upset the St. Louis Cardinals scored over Connie Mack's world champion Philadelphia A's. Pepper made Mickey Cochran look like a schoolboy rather than a Hall of Fame catcher as he bellied around the base paths while ripping the A's pitching for 7 singles, 4 doubles, 1 home run, and a .500 batting average. In the depths of the Great Depression, when millions had little else to cheer about, they thrilled to Pepper Martin's daring. his face bronzed by the Oklahoma sun, his uniform grimy, torn, and tattered from 1,000 reckless slides. Pepper Martin was a shining sun in an otherwise cloudy sky. 1941. Two memorable moments as Leo DeRocher's dazzling Dodgers meet the Yankees. It's the Brooklyn Cubs' first series appearance since 1920. First, fat Freddie Fitzsimmons is hit hard on the knee with a line drive and forced to leave the game after 7 scoreless innings. The Yanks go on to a 2-1 victory. A tough break for the Dodgers, but nothing like what lies ahead. The following day, Dodger pitcher Hugh Casey needs just one more strike to wrap up a 4-3 Dodger victory. He gets the strike, but catcher Mickey Owen can't hold on to the ball. Tommy Henrich races to first base. The Yankees still have a chance. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio's the next hitter. He lines a single and Dodger fans shudder. King Kong Keller delivers the telling blow. A double, which gives the Yankees the lead. Moments later, they wrap up a 7-4 victory in a World Series that Mickey Owen and Dodger fans will always remember, though they try hard to forget. 1946. With the series tied at 3 games apiece, the Cardinals lead the Red Sox 3-1 in the 8th inning of the final game. After Glenn Russell singles for the Sox, George Metcavich follows with a double to put the tying runs on base. Cardinal manager Eddie Dyer decides that Murray Dixon, who has pitched brilliantly all afternoon, has lost his stuff. He removes Dixon from the game and goes to his bullpen, where Cardinal ace Harry Brackeen has been loosening up. 2 days before, Harry the Cat had evened the series at 2 games apiece. A week before, he had evened it at 1 game apiece. Now, for the 3rd time, he takes up the pitching burden. 2 on, and no outs in the 8th inning of the final game. Brackeen gets the first 2 men, but Dom DiMaggio doubles, and the game is tied 3-3. In the bottom half of the 8th inning, the Cardinals' Enos Slaughter singles to set up one of the most dramatic plays in series history. Slaughter is a throwback to the days of Pepper Martin, a daring and fearless base runner. When Harry Walker singles to right field, Slaughter never stops running. Red Sox second baseman Johnny Pesky hesitates for a split second on the relay, and Slaughter is home free with a 4-3 Cardinal lead. Harry Brackeen wraps it up in the 9th inning for his 3rd victory of the series, and the Cardinals are world champions. He who hesitates has lost. In the 4th game in the 1947 series, the Yankees' Floyd Bevins enters the last of the 9th inning with a 2-1 lead over the Dodgers and a no-hitter in the works. 2 outs and Pete Reiser at bat. Dodger Al Gianfrido is on first with one of Bevins' 10 walks. He steals second base. Then Reiser is purposely passed. Bevins is still only 1 out away from his no-hitter. The Dodgers send Cookie Lavagetto, a .261 hitter, to the plate to pinch hit for Eddie Stanky. Lavagetto responds with the most dramatic base hit in the history of the World Series. His double to right field scores Gianfrido and pinch runner Eddie Mixis. It gives the Dodgers an incredible 3-2 victory. It keeps Floyd Bevins from pitching the first no-hitter in World Series history. Lavagetto's hit is the climax of the 1947 series. But there is one more triumphant Dodger moment ahead before the Yankees, ignoring Dodger heroics, score their traditional October victory. In the 6th game, the Dodgers lead 8-5 as Joe DiMaggio comes to bat with 2 out and 2 on. Al Gianfrido, a defensive replacement in the outfield, races to the 415-foot mark to pull DiMaggio's drive right out of the bullpen. 1956. With President Eisenhower looking on, the Dodgers, after finally winning their first World Series the preceding year, tried to make it 2 in a row over the Yankees. The booming Brooklyn Bats give the Bums an early lead, but the Yankee power explodes in the 3rd and 4th games to even up the series at 2 games apiece. No one is prepared for the pitching masterpiece to take place in the 5th game. With a great collection of sluggers like Carl Furillo, Roy Campanella, Jackie Robinson, Duke Snider, and Gil Hodges in the lineup, the Dodgers have a murderer's row comparable to any in baseball history. Against this array, the Yankees send Don Larson, a 21-game loser in 1954. Larson is not the only Yankee to distinguish himself this day. Mickey Mantle races deep into left center field to make this fine catch of Hodges' long drive and prevent a certain base hit. Mantle also solves Dodger pitcher Sal Magley's magic by hitting a tremendous home run into the right field seats. The Yankees add one more run in the 6th inning, but there is to be no more scoring. Larson is untouchable. He takes the mound in the 9th inning, needing only 3 more outs for an unprecedented perfect game. 27 men up and down without anyone reaching first base. Carl Furillo, a dangerous clutch hitter, flies out to Hank Bauer in right field. After Campanella grounds out, the Dodgers send Dale Mitchell up to pinch hit for Magley. Larson catches the outside corner for call strike 3, and the World Series has its only perfect game. Don Larson becomes an instant legend of the game. In 1959 in Chicago, Walt Alston's L.A. Dodgers faced off against the Al Lopez-led White Sox. 3rd inning, Roger Craig pitching for L.A., the Sox Jim Landis singles home Nellie Fox for a 3-0 lead. Ted Kluszewski homers to make it 5-0 Chicago. A Game 1 rout is in the making. Chuck Churn now pitching for L.A., and Sherm Lawler's easy fly ball is messed up by Duke Snider and Wally Moon. Pity poor L.A. The Sox Al Smith doubles, and Snider throws wild on the play to set a series record of 2 errors in 1 inning. The Duke had better days. Jim Rivera's grounder to Charlie Neal is thrown wildly away for still another Dodger error. Early Wynn doubles Rivera home as the Sox destroy the Dodgers 11-0 in Game 1. Can the Dodgers ever come back? You bet. In the final game, Early Wynn of the White Sox walks Dodger Wally Moon. Duke Snider wallops Wynn for a home run. Duke did indeed have better days than horrible Game 1. Wynn later gives up a single to Norm Larker. John Roseboro sacrifices pinch runner Don Demeter to second. Maury Wells singles Demeter home. The Dodgers are flying high. Pitcher Johnny Podres doubles Wills home. Dick Donovan, now pitching, walks Jim Gilliam. And Charlie Neal doubles Padres and Gilliam home and forgets about his Game 1 problems. Wally Moon homers, and the Dodgers go on to win the game 9-3 and the series 4-2. The 11-0 opening game disaster hardly ever happened. In 1960, the Pittsburgh Pirates faced off against the New York Yankees in a wild, weird, and wacky fall classic. The first 6 games saw the Bucks win first, get slaughtered in the next 2 games, turn it around and win games 4 and 5, then lose 12-0 in Game 6 to set up the 7th and deciding contest, a World Series classic. In the 8th inning of the last game, Bill Verdon of the Pirates is at bat, his team trailing 7-4. He hits the famous bad hop bouncer into Tony Kubek's Adam's apple as Gino Cimoli goes to second, and Tony Kubek, badly hurt, is forced to leave the game, and the Pirates go on to take a 9-7 lead. Mickey Mantle at bat in the top of the 9th singles to cut the Pirate lead 9-8. Yogi Berra then drives in the tying run in this seesaw series. In the bottom of the ninth, Bill Mazeroski becomes the instant legend. Pirate fans will never forget his 10-9 game-winning, series-winning home run in the upside-down 1960 Classic. Instant legends, all-time legends. We've met a wonderful crew. How many of us, with head on pillow, have seen the rest of the team rush to the mound to lift us on their shoulders? How many times have we been mobbed after hitting the game-winning home run? You dream it. And then, thanks to these guys, it happens as we share their moment. Thanks to them, our dreams come true.